The archive chamber hummed with 1,000 years of silence. Zirath Vel's 6 optical sensors focused on the crystalline data cores floating before him, each one containing fragments of a civilization that should have been nothing more than cosmic dust. As the Galactic Confederation's lead historian, he had spent decades studying the extinct species called humans. Violent, short-lived creatures who had destroyed themselves in a war that cracked their homeworld like an egg. Fascinating, Zirath murmured, his translator converting his harmonic tones into standard galactic. They built weapons capable of sterilizing entire continents, yet they also created poetry about flowers. The contradiction had obsessed him. Humans were chaos incarnate, brilliant and brutal, compassionate and cruel. The galaxy had breathed easier after their extinction. No more unpredictable warmongers. No more species that refused to follow the Confederation's carefully structured peace. A pulse of energy suddenly rippled through the archive. Zirath's sensory stalk stiffened. The readings were coming from Sector 7-7 Alpha, the dead zone where Earth's remnants orbited a dying star. Something was powering up, something massive. Across the galaxy in the frozen darkness beyond the Helios barrier, Commander Aaron Voss opened his eyes for the first time in a millennium. His lungs burned as they filled with air. His muscles screamed as neural pathways reconnected. Every cell in his body ignited with purpose, downloaded with memories that weren't entirely his own. 1,000 years of human consciousness, preserved and compressed, waiting for this moment. Aaron remembered Earth's fall. He remembered the quantum bombs that had shattered the planet's core. He remembered the desperate plan, the Genesis Protocol, humanity's final gamble at survival. Upload the consciousness of humanity's best and brightest into quantum storage, hidden in derelict seed ships scattered across the void. Wait, evolve, rebuild, return. Status report, Aaron commanded, his voice hoarse but steady. The ship's AI responded instantly. Welcome back, Commander. 1,037 years have elapsed since Project Genesis initialization. All seed ships are awakening. Total population: 12 million reborn humans across 47 vessels. Genetic modifications successful. Enhancements operational. Aaron flexed his hand and watched as his skin shimmered, nanomachines flowing beneath the surface like liquid silver. Humanity hadn't just survived, they had transcended. The quantum archives had preserved not just memories but potential. Each reborn human carried enhancements that made them faster, stronger, and more resilient than their ancestors. They had learned from their mistakes, refined their biology, and prepared for a galaxy that would fear their return. Set course for the Confederation core worlds, Aaron ordered. It's time to announce ourselves. Zirath received the transmission 3 days later. His entire research facility went into lockdown as the message played across every screen, every hologram, every communication device in Confederation space. A human face appeared, strong-jawed with eyes that burned with terrifying intelligence. I am Commander Aaron Voss of the Reborn Human Collective. 1,000 years ago you watched us die. You declared us extinct. You carved our history into cautionary tales. You were wrong. The image shifted, showing massive fleets emerging from quantum slipstreams, ships that defied conventional physics, their hulls inscribed with equations that made Zirath's analytical mind real. We did not die. We evolved, we waited, we learned. And now we return, not as conquerors but as equals who will no longer be ignored. Panic swept through the Confederation. Emergency councils convened. Battle fleets mobilized. The galaxy's most powerful civilizations, unified for millennia under enforced peace, suddenly faced an impossible truth. Humanity, the species they had written off as too destructive to survive, had not only survived but thrived in the darkness. Zirath requested and received permission to meet with the humans. His research had earned him credibility, and perhaps, he thought, understanding these creatures was the key to avoiding another galactic war. The meeting took place on a neutral station orbiting a black hole. Zirath's escorts were heavily armed, but the historian insisted on approaching Commander Voss alone. The human stood taller than Zirath remembered from the archives. Enhanced, certainly, but there was something else. A weight of experience in those eyes that transcended mere years. You studied us, Aaron said without preamble. You wrote 17 volumes about our extinction. You called us a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition. Zirath's optical sensors dimmed in what his species considered embarrassment. I did. I believed I understood your people. I was wrong. No, Aaron replied, surprising him. You were mostly right. We were destructive. We were reckless. We nearly destroyed ourselves. But you missed the most important part of being human. And what is that? We don't stay down. Aaron's expression softened into something that might have been a smile. You studied our wars, our weapons, our capacity for violence. But did you study our comebacks? Every time we fell, we rose stronger. Every extinction-level event on Earth, and there were 5 before we caused the 6th, was followed by an explosion of adaptation and evolution. He gestured to the view screen showing the fleet beyond. We are resilient, Historian Val. That's the human superpower. Not our weapons, not our technology. Our absolute refusal to accept extinction. Zerath processed this, his analytical mind racing. The Confederation will fear you. They will try to contain you. Let them try, Aaron said, and now there was steel in his voice. We're not asking for permission to exist. We're announcing our return. The galaxy spent 1,000 years without humans. Now it gets to rediscover what that means. He extended his hand, an ancient human gesture Zerath recognized from his research. But we don't want war. We want a place at the table. Equal partners, not subordinate members. Zerath looked at the offered hand for a long moment. This was the moment that would define the next era of galactic history. Accept and acknowledge humanity's right to exist as equals. Refuse and face a species that had survived the impossible. He reached out with his primary manipulator and clasped Aaron's hand. Welcome back, Zerath said quietly. The galaxy wasn't ready for you, but perhaps that's exactly what we needed. Across the stars, humanity's seed ships continued to awaken, 12 million souls reborn and enhanced, carrying the memories of a dead world and the determination to ensure it would never happen again. They had been gone for 1,000 years. They had returned stronger than ever. And the galaxy would never be the same.